I just looked at Amber. I was like, I'm done with these pills. And I started, call it a weaning process. And that was one of the last times I went to a doctor. Because my doctor looked me in the eye and said, Fred, I'm taking this same thing called Effects or XR. And I've come to terms with the fact that I'm on it for life. And I don't know what you think you're going to do. And I said, well, I think this is our last appointment together. And that was the moment I took my health into my own hands.
Welcome to the Rock Bottom Podcast, presented by Jigsaw Health, where we share health horror stories that inspire. Today's guest spent over 15 years on a cocktail of antidepressants and opioids before realizing that they were doing his body more harm than good. His journey back to health began when he quit his meds, changed his diet, and committed to healing both his mind and his body.
Before we dive in, just a quick note, this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for medical advice. So always consult with a healthcare professional before making any changes to your health routine.
So let's get into it. This is the Rock Bottom Podcast. Fred Patterson, we are so excited to have you today to listen to your incredible story. I'd like to just start off by asking you if you recall the day and time, general time frame of when you feel like you hit your true rock bottom, and what was it like that day?
About how old were you?
Let's see. It would have been, say, July of 2019.
Okay.
Right. So I'm pushing 41. I'd been stuck in antidepressant withdrawal for about a year and a half at the time. After weaning off the pills for about a year, another 6-8 months of just straight withdrawal. And my weight had dropped from 200 to about 124 pounds.
You lost
skin and
75 pounds.
Skin and bones. So I was barely hanging on. Just my body was broken because of the central nervous system damage that had occurred from the pills that I had been prescribed over about 15 years. So that's where the bottom hit.
Yeah.
Do you remember waking up that day? What was it like? Take us back.
I don't know if it was any singular day. I just remember looking back at a photo. A friend of mine came into town in San Diego at the time, is where we were living. A college buddy of mine and his wife, who I'd never met, his 6-year-old son. And he had asked us to meet him downtown, Amber and I, and we did. And the look on his face when he saw me said a lot. And I don't think I read into it in that moment, but a few days later, he sends me a text with a photo of us. And David is a very in-shape guy. And I noticed the way that I looked next to him for the first time, right? You don't see it in the mirror every day when you're just losing a little bit, right? It's a boil the frog moment.
Yeah.
But I think that was the moment where I was able to zoom out and see for the first time how deeply damaged my body was and just the look in my eye, right? You could just, that was the moment, I think, is when I saw the photo of the day. So.
Wow. And so you had been on antidepressants for 15 years. Do you want to take us back to what put you into like that and to start with?
Sure.
Like,
yeah, I think it's more about thinking back and doing the realization moments, because in the moment and in my early 20s or mid 20s is when I was originally diagnosed with depression and anxiety, right? And I think it was 2003. And at the time it was a chemical imbalance in my brain that I was told I had.
of course.
So we had some pills that we were going to address it with. Yeah. That being said, when you do the zoom out thing and you look back at lifestyle and things that actually affect the way that you feel physically, in my mid 20s, I was right out of college, right? I was still partying a lot, drinking. I lived in the middle of like 6 different bars, my apartment complex, with my best friend from college who had just graduated, right? We were down there every day, smoking cigarettes, drinking beers, eating pizza.
Oh, yeah.
If it wasn't beer, it was soda. Mm-hmm. We didn't sleep. And about a year before that, I took a desk job for the first time. And my life and my career, my work, and everything I had done up until that point had always been outside and very physical. I was purchasing a warehouse manager at a concert amphitheater for like 6 years, right? So we were throwing beer kegs around and cases of beer, like just throwing parties for 20,000 people every day, and it was fun. But I was 175 pounds. I was in great shape. I was active for, 10 and 16 hours a day. And then I started sitting at a desk, eating Chipotle burritos and big Starbucks frappuccinos and just going to the bar after work, not paying attention to what my body was telling me. And all of a sudden, no wonder I'm depressed. Yeah. I've now turned my lifestyle toxic. But that was never addressed. It was, there's the chemical imbalance. Every male in their mid-20s goes through this. Fred, let's talk about your family. Well, my grandfather took his own life about 2 years before that. My dad struggles because of, I think, some of that. Not recognizing what I know now called an ancestral burden may have some things to do with how we feel and what manifests in our bodies, right? So I think back to all those things, and it was just that moment. I think the lifestyle change made me feel a way that just wasn't normal. I was socially withdrawing. I've always been a more people the better, the party guy, the outgoing, let's be the social chair. I'm there. Let's have a good time. All of a sudden, I couldn't be in public. Like, I go to the grocery store and I get tunnel vision. Like, Amber does all our shopping. I don't go to Costco.
Wow.
Still. But it's like just this weird brain moment where whatever level of anxiety kicks in, and all of a sudden, like, I can't operate.
What do you point to for the reason that you went from being so outgoing to like being more of a introvert?
I think it was the initial feeling of anxiety, right? Even as I was being treated. I think the start of the prescription process was a dice roll, right? I think it took about 9 months from the time that I was diagnosed to the time that I was able to kind of get out of bed and function normally. And I was put on and taken off of a number of different SSRIs, benzos, just, Fred, you're having this resistant condition. It's resisting our treatment. Wow. We're going to have to give you more. And I'm like, man, guys, I'm like catatonic. I don't feel good. I'm in bed. I can't concentrate. Like, I'm just physically, I don't feel good. I'm gaining weight. Like, what is this?
You're like, this is not helping.
But it's almost like it's how we know it's working conversation. That's what it's just, it's fine, Fred. You'll be okay. You read the label, right? Like, it's just, there's some of these things are going to happen. It just takes time. And I think it was just a moment of me being stubborn and not mindful. And up until I think I was about 40, I would run as hard as I could, no matter what day it was, give everything you absolutely can. And then there would come a time where I would run into that wall and you crash and burn. But me being young and resilient, I would just quickly pick up the pieces, act like nothing happened, and just time to sprint. And I just never recognized the cycle. I was too close to it.
Yeah. It is amazing how you can see so much more clearly when you're removed from it, but it's almost impossible to see clearly when you're in it, right?
Yeah, and that's every day of everybody's life, right? We get so close to our own things that it creates a lot of blind spots, right?
What was the trigger that made you say in the first place, I think I need to go to the doctor and ask what's going on with me? And do you remember, did they do any kind of testing, or was it pretty quickly like, we're going to write you a script?
Upon the initial diagnosis?
Well, yeah. I mean, but first, what was it that made you say, I got to go to the doctor. So I'm feeling wrong. Like, no, in 2003.
That was
when you first went to the doctor.
So my
what
mom
was the trigger for that? Okay.
She was a home hospice nurse for many years, and I think what she saw with some of the stages of what my dad went through in depression, we found him slumped over the steering wheel of his car on the turnpike in the 80s, right? He was working in a different state than we were living, and being transferred a lot. He was in insurance at the time. And so that was his first anxiety attack, and he thought he had a heart attack. Yeah. An ambulance came and got him. So I think my mom started seeing some of those similar signs in me, right? Freddie, okay, we should probably get you to the doctor. Like, what's going on? I don't want to go to the doctor. I'm a doctor guy. I'm still. But I'll listen. Let's go see what the doctors say, right? And it was a very short process on what the doctors put me through. It was like, well, we're going to give you this thing called a black test. What the hell's that, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's just like, here's a couple of questions we want you to answer, and then they're going to answer. We're just going to ask you some from across the room, right? They're just sitting across the desk from my doctor, and like little things. And one of the things I remember was like, Fred, what's 7 plus 7? Guys, it's 14. Come on. No, well, plus 7. I'm like 21. Plus 7. I'm like, go plus 7. I don't. your cognition's impaired. I couldn't connect the dots. It's a simple thing, right? But all of a sudden they're going, well, that's a check on the blacklist. And so they're just, well, you got major depressive disorder, Fred.
Wow.
You know, and they
'Cause you can't do
again
math.
asked me about the family history. Couldn't do some math. And man, I remember. So my wife and I rewatched The Sopranos during COVID. And I remember Tony Soprano sitting in the chair and his psychiatrist talking about the chemical imbalance. And the year those episodes came out was about the same time.
Right.
Imagine this. So all of a sudden, like the radar, like this is, now I'm in 2020 and I'm like, dang it. And I'm already in the state that I'm in after the withdrawal. But all of a sudden, like the light bulbs start going off, right? And as you start looking backwards and putting the pieces together. So it's really interesting to see how popular things are and where they're hidden in
Wow.
media.
Yes.
And how that kind of
That's what they were all doing at the time.
confirming in my brain subconsciously, I'm Tony Soprano's dealing with the same thing, man.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
And that's how the doctors handled it
Right.
20 plus years ago. Okay, well, you've got major depressive disorder.
Yes.
It's a chemical imbalance. Some
not-
pills can fix that chemical imbalance. But then you spent, I think you said 7 or 9 months for them to get your dosage right.
Yeah, give or take. And I was up and down for the 15 years I was on it.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Talk us maybe through that part of like 15 years of up and down with pills. What was that? What was some of the highlights, or shall we say lowlights of that?
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of highlights in there.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's one of those things I was so close to. I just didn't see that like the cure was the cause. All right, we get into these iatrogenic injuries where the prescribed treatment does more harm
Yeah.
than the initial condition.
For those that maybe don't know, iatrogenic meaning doctor caused.
Yeah.
Yeah. Iatrogenic death is the third leading cause of death in America.
Wow.
It's like cancer, heart attacks, and iatrogenic causes.
Nobody talks about that one.
Not really
It's-
not really very often, but I think it was Barbara Stansfield that did a whole peer-reviewed paper about that many years ago, almost maybe 20 years ago. We can put it in the show notes because I'm sure we can find it and correct my memory here. But that's a real problem
Yeah.
that it's not talked about. And having gone through the pandemic and all of that, to be like, okay, these are the experts.
It's pretty eye-opening, right?
Yeah. So maybe just, like you were saying, I didn't mean to interrupt too
No,
much,
we're good.
but I know iatrogenic was,
I was wondering.
That's a $3 word right there. It's a good word. I
don't
like
know.
it.
Yeah, my
But-
brain damage doesn't allow me to pronounce things right sometimes.
Well, I don't know
But
if I'm pronouncing it
I
right
don't
either,
but
for
I
sure.
think it's, the fact is, that's a very big deal, right?
Yeah.
And we see the media freak out about 4 cases of measles, but we don't talk about the hundreds of thousands of people that we're killing with treatments.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think, one of the things that I've become very aware of is the lack of long-term studies and testing on some of these psycho or antipsychotic medications, right? The SSRIs, the SNRIs. It seems like every time you hear somebody doing something crazy in the news, they're on one of those.
Yeah.
I can confirm when I came off of those, the level of dark thoughts that went through my head is something no one should experience.
Yeah.
Right.
No one.
So
So-
take us to the time when, let's say you've been, as you said, you've been up and down 15 years trying to find the right cocktail. Maybe
Yeah.
you had some days where you felt better than others, but overall pretty much like garbage for like that was your normal.
Yeah, I think I just, and maybe I almost felt like once I went on the antidepressant part of it, and I was given what's called a Fexer, which is an SNRI, a little different than an SSRI. But again, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, so if I try to describe it, I'm going to mess it up. But the long and short of it is, it's once I was on a Fexer, my brain changed. I think my personality changed. I don't think I recognized it at the time, but all of a sudden my decision making got a little more loose. My inhibitions were not there. I got a little loose with money and doing wild things, and I was always a social drinker, but I think it became a little bit more. And again, it was always for fun, but I don't think I ever recognized like what the pill and the alcohol were doing at the same time, right? Like it's all nervous system
Talk about chemical imbalances.
So now I'm giving myself one on top of everything else, but I think I'm probably subconsciously trying to numb what's going on from what the pills are causing to begin with more of what probably sent me down the path to begin, so it became the cyclical thing. And I never saw my alcohol use as alcoholism. I didn't need to wake up and have a drink, right? And get the shakes. But I think over time, looking back, if anything in your life causes you problems, you have a problem with it. And I don't think I recognize that, right? And I just think with the way that it changed my brain and the way that I made decisions and I was fast and loose with stuff and whatever, give me that. That sounds fun. We'll do it. We'll try it.
Yeah.
To the older I get and the more I go through the healing, the more introverted and maybe that's just everyone I meet that's in their mid-40s tends to say the same thing. The older I get, the more introverted I become. But
yeah, or maybe more selective on your the people you choose to be around too.
That's a huge point, right? Because I used to be admittedly a people pleaser. Mm-hmm. I said yes to everything, right? And that ultimately contributed to the burnout in which finally made the light bulb go off that said, Fred, you're not healthy. You're massively unbalanced. Mm. And I think that call it awakening or just noticing that was the pivotal point for me waking up and saying no more to the pills. I'm going to date myself real quick here. Do you guys remember Susan Powder? She had the short, spiky blonde hair, and she used to say, "Stop the madness" on the infomercials all the time.
I don't
really either.
I call it my Susan Powder moment. Like somebody's going to get the joke, man.
Someone watching this will.
Exactly.
Right? She's probably alongside of Suzanne Summers in The Thigh Master, right?
Got it. All right. I do remember Suzanne Summers.
For sure.
But I just had that moment where I was like, my God, I have to stop this madness. Mm-hmm. Like every time I go to the doctor and I tell him I'm not feeling well, the only thing that ever happens is we adjust medication. Whether it's more, different, like I describe side effects. Oh, we can medicate that too. Mm. I mean, I was under 30 years old. I'm on blood pressure medication.
How many medications were you on at the peak?
I should know that number, but it was probably in the teens.
Really?
Jeez.
I mean, I can sit here and start naming. I was on Paxil at one point, Buspar, Ativan, Transine, Trazodone, diazepam, steroids, pain pill. I ended up, because of all the inflammation in my body, ended up with sciatica. Next thing you know, they're throwing Percocets and Vicodins on me. And, we need steroids with you. You want to talk about inflammation? Let's keep going. I just kept swelling up and getting worse. And so that was around 2010, I think, was probably the peak in which the number of pills I was taking. I decided to just stop taking a bunch of them. And I don't know why or which ones.
One day you woke up and you're like, all right, I'm going to take less medication.
Yeah. And I don't know why I got rid of some and not others, but I think in kind of that first part of the journey, I realized I was physically dependent on the antidepressant and maybe some of those benzos. But benzos was the things that I cold turkeyed. I just stopped taking them.
Oof.
That's really...
And I'm here to tell about it.
Yeah, that's really difficult.
Yeah. And I don't think I even recognized the way that I just quit them and I just went on with my daily life. Like, I'm good, whatever. Freddie, you feeling okay? I don't know.
Oh, wow.
But I'm just in that running state, right? Where I just I was so not mindful of my own body and the way that I'd feel that I couldn't tell you what it did to me.
You were just in
back
constant fight or flight.
Absolutely.
Adrenaline 24/7.
And to this day, I still struggle with that because the damage to my nervous system screws up the hormonal regulation, right? Mm-hmm. Cortisol, adrenaline. Yeah. When my nervous system gets triggered, I'm constantly in fight or flight. Like I'm stuck there for days, weeks. During the process, years. Like you're not sleeping. You're going to be, and if you do fall asleep, you're going to get jolted awake by the cortisol. It's meant to slowly wake you, but your body doesn't know how to regulate that right now. So here it comes, and it's going to keep coming all day. So
would you say that the darkest, and I think you did say that earlier, is like the hardest part of all of this was by far the withdrawal?
100%.
Like
that
the
journey
year and a half.
Was, I think, me just scratching and clawing it. Like, why don't I feel right?
And how did Amber, your wife, like, obviously she's an amazing human being, first of all. I'm a huge fan of her. But like, how did she handle all of this, like, from your perspective?
Not easily. And honestly, I'm surprised we're still here together. I'm not, but I am, right? Like she didn't deserve to go through that. That's not the person I promised her I would be. That being, sorry, that being the case, I want to say the summer of 2015 was my realization that I need to stop taking these pills, right? Or at least the antidepressant and whatever I was left on. And I was just feeling burned out. I was just I couldn't engage in anything. Like I'm just dead inside. I'm not going to work. I have back spasms. I can't go. I got all the excuses I need.
There's
right?
like no motivation to do
But I'm still a
anything.
top performer at my firm. Like how do
Yeah.
I get through this? And now eventually I just quit my job. But somebody had offered me something else, right? So all of a sudden now I have an equity position in an IT company. So instead of stopping and taking care of myself, I accelerated that burnout because now I'm a business owner trying to hustle. I got retirement in front of me with this equity thing, right? So I'm working 80 hours a week. And I'm drinking a lot because I'm going to networking events at night.
And this, remind me the timeline for this.
This is end of 2015, so going into 2016. Well, guess what? We got engaged in 2015 in February. We got married in September of 2016. And I was in that burnout phase that whole time, saying yes to everything because I was important, right? I was the HOA president in my neighborhood. Talk about it.
I mean, that is the pinnacle of importance.
I didn't even like put my name on the ballot. I just got voted in and was like, oh, cool, I guess I'll do it.
Yeah, wow.
Like Fred will do it.
Everybody knows Fred. Like good time Fred. Let Fred do it.
And that was just one of many things that was sucking the life and energy out of me, right? We get older, we need the right energy. We don't need all the energy. And I think going through all of that and us getting married and me feeling burned out and us probably taking on a little more debt with the marriage and all of a sudden, like, I was not into that company anymore. It wasn't what it was described to me. I was feeling a little off about it to begin with. I was very negative and triggered all the time. And I just said, enough's enough. I'm done with this. About a week later, we went to Yosemite, right before our first wedding anniversary. There was a forest fire up there, some late cancellations. I found us a camp spot. I'm like, let's go. I quit my job. Let's go get to nature. I'm driving the truck. We'll take the dogs. It'll be great. We fought tooth and nail all the way on that trip. We got home, and about 3 days later, our dog died 2 days before our first wedding anniversary. And it was just like, you got to be kidding me right now. Like, what else is going to be taken from me?
Yeah.
And I think it was right about that time where I was just like, I'm done. I just looked at Amber. I was like, I'm done with these pills. I need to feel human again. And I started, call it a weaning process. And that was one of the last times I went to a doctor. Because my doctor looked me in the eye and said, Fred, I'm taking this same thing called Effects or XR. And I've come to terms with the fact that I'm on it for life. And I don't know what you think you're going to do. And I said, well, I think this is our last appointment together. And that was the moment I took my health into my own hands.
Just got chill bumps.
Yeah, total full body goosebumps.
So I haven't been to an MD since 2017.
Do you see any kind of doctors now? Do you go to naturopath? Or
Occasionally. I'll
just
go
like
to
if
a
you have to?
naturopath. Yeah, I don't really get sick. When you address your core health, things can change, right? But it's bigger than physical, right? There's mental, there's emotional, there's spiritual, there's a lot of layers.
And it's all connected.
100%.
So in 2016, 2017, no more doctors. 2019, you saw your friend in San Diego.
At the bottom.
Yeah, at the bottom. So it wasn't like, oh, I stopped going to the doctor and then things got better. It's like, no, then it had to get a little worse first, right?
That was...
Because all the withdrawals.
Yeah. And at the time, I was trying to do some research on how do we get off these things.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just, there's a lot of people struggling, but there's not a lot of formal, this is how you do it. I mean, honestly, my doctor was like, I think you're supposed to cut your dose in like half every 3 weeks. Oh, that would have killed me. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, wow.
Because I was on at the time, I had gotten down to 150 milligrams. I think the max effective dose is supposed to be 75, if Don't quote me on
Okay.
that. But I was at one point up to 300. Like they just kept giving me more and more. And I don't notice the difference. At one point I was like, I don't want this 150. I'm just going to do 150, right? So instead of 300, so who knows what that did to me. And I wasn't aware. Mm-hmm. But I started taking, there was about, I don't know, 350 to 400 little individual beads in every one of my pills. I just take them apart and I start counting beads. So I decided my way to come off these pills was to take a bead out every day. Just one bead every day. So day one day, day two beads, day three beads. About a year later, I was down to 2 beads. My mom was in San Diego. She ended up in the hospital for about a week. She had gotten out, and I was just struggling with the stress of it all, but I only had 2 beads left, and I said, it was like right after Christmas, and I was done. So I jumped off at like 2 beads, whatever that's supposed to be. And about 3 or 4 days later, my mom and dad are sitting in the dining room in our house in San Diego having dinner with Amber and I. And all of a sudden, I start shaking. And I'm cold sweating. The back of my palms are beating up with sweat. And I all of a sudden don't feel good. Mom, I think I have the flu. I'm going to go upstairs and lay down. And for the next 5 to 6 days, I had straight heroin-style withdrawals that I thought was the flu.
Wow, even though you were down to the 2 beads.
After almost a year. Wow. Or actually, it was about 13 months of coming off of that drug. But I never stopped to stabilize along the way.
Right.
The right way to wean off of these drugs is, there's now a lot more documentation on how to do this, but it's what they recommend is a 10% method. Take 10% of your dosage, reduce it, stay there for 6 to 8 weeks. How do you feel? Let's get really aware.
Let your body adjust.
And
you did like a straight line all the way down.
Off of my drugs.
Which is better than just cutting it in half.
Sure.
But because cutting it in half, like the doctor said,
might have
very
short.
Killed you.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's now more
crash.
discussions online about how to safely come off of benzos.
There's books.
So this isn't medical advice here.
Yeah, please don't do it the way I did it.
Yeah,
yes, this
absolutely do not
anti-example.
Really work
the way I did.
And hopefully there are doctors that will safely do it with you.
I hope so.
You don't have to just
wing it.
Wing it yourself.
Yeah, the sheer fact that you had to, or you felt like you had to at that time, that there were no readily available resources, should be a crime. Because to be able to responsibly prescribe drugs like this, you should be able to responsibly get people off of them too.
It's the off-ramp strategy, right? We're business owners. Are we not supposed to start with the end in mind?
Right.
Nobody does it that way. Right?
No.
Not when it comes to drugs, it would seem.
But fact is, I think there's been enough people struggling with this as an issue. I mean, I'm in groups online that I see every day, and I'm glad I'm done with that stage.
Yeah.
Man, do I need to reach out to that person and let them know to take one more breath, one more day?
Wow, yeah.
At the thick of it, I was begging God to take me. Right? The way that my wife felt back to that, through that timeline of who did I marry? I became a monster. I lost all emotion at first. Right? It broke my brain. I wasn't home. I had very little cognition. I'd be watching TV, but Fred, what are you watching? And I don't know.
Wow.
What? I don't know. Like I was just not
That's
home.
Wild.
Like my memory was completely broken. I couldn't sleep. I was hallucinating because I was and if I could sleep, I would get, jolted awake by the cortisol spike after an hour or two. So I was literally thought I was in full psychosis.
I mean, you probably were.
I was triggered by any and everything. Mm-hmm. The only emotion that came back was anger. Mm-hmm. So now my wife, God bless her, is dealing with this guy who was amazingly fun and loving, and now he's a complete animal who just wants to wreck everything and screams about everything and is just flies off the handle every day about everything. That's not healthy. That's not okay. She didn't ask for that.
Right.
So I think in that moment, and I think around the bottom, right? And it was literally, I just remember laying in bed begging God to take me. I wasn't able to work through a lot of this, right? We had accumulated quite a bit of debt. There was no way out. My brain was creating scenarios in which
Yeah.
This world was a better place without me, right? And I think in that desperation, I heard God, right? Like, not yet. So that was the moment I woke up. This company Insperity called me.
Insperity?
Yeah, that's my employer now.
Oh, yeah.
And I literally had to take a job. I had to sell my truck to pay the mortgage about a month before, just hanging on, right? And I wasn't physically, emotionally, or mentally ready to go back to work, but I almost called them and said I couldn't come in yet for my start date. I was still so broken. But something in me just said, you got to go. You got to, like, move forward. And that became it, man. I drove home in tears almost every day. My little 11-mile commute in San Diego that I looked at the beach at would take me an hour, right? You can't move. And I was triggered by it. And I felt like I was forced into a cube or maybe a big step back, right? And all of a sudden I went from business owner to employee at a $1 billion company. I'm just a sales guy. I'm a number chasing a number. I couldn't have been more wrong. It was the most authentic company ever. I'm not going to brag about Insperity today, but point is that was a big turning point in my life. It got me moving forward in a way that was productive. And all of a sudden I had a couple of buddies that saw me. I hadn't been out doing much, right? I've been kind of hiding and trying to heal. And a good friend of mine invited me back to a breakfast coffee kind of monthly guys networking thing that I hadn't been to in a while. It was only like eight of us, pretty tight group. And I remember leaving that day. And I got a phone call about 2 days later from my buddy, and he goes, "Fred, we see you. I don't know if you believe in this kind of thing, but I've already paid for it. And you're going to go. But you're going to go to the La Costa Resort in Carlsbad. And there's a girl. She's got a little office off of the gym over there. And she's a spiritual healer. And you're going to sit with Sarah, and you're going to go through a couple hours of spiritual healing with Sarah." And I'm like, "You guys are nuts. But thank you, and I'm going to say yes." It was just that vulnerable moment that I think for the first time in my life, I said yes to someone offering me help, which was the absolute game changer, right? And I'm walking into this woo-woo session of, oh my God, what are you talking about? You want to grant me to give you permission to get into my subconscious mind? Like, what? What are you going to do in there? Like, so we had some, before you know it, I'm getting Reiki done on me. I'm crying. Oh, your grandfather, he says hi, right? Like, there's just like,
Wow.
Wait, what? I didn't tell you about my grandfather. That's not a social, like, you don't, what do you know?
Yeah.
And it kind of opened my eyes to some of the woo-woo, right? Or if you will, but I'd have already been called crazy 100 times by all my friends watching me go through this, right? Many of them taking pills. A lot of them going, "Fred, you don't have to do this." How many people, like, we all take something. It's okay. Just go back on your meds, man. And that's what it was. Fred's off his meds. It wasn't I'm going through this journey of healing.
Right.
So that was a lot of the battle too, right? And so
When was the first session with Sarah, the healer?
I feel like that was, I think it was September or October of 2019.
Yeah.
And that was
Shortly after the rock bottom.
Yeah.
Right.
And all
right
of a
in that
sudden
period,
I was like,
yeah.
wow, I feel a little lighter. I don't feel better, but I feel a little lighter.
Yeah.
Like when you left the office, you're like, what just happened?
Yeah. I cried. I think I finally realized that there were some things below the surface. I was really effectively holding my healing back.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that I had this trapped emotional trauma and these things that had manifested as depression over the years, right? The ancestral burden of my grandfather taking his life, my dad struggling with some things. Who knows from the generations before how much got pushed through.
Yeah.
So as I started to kind of become aware of some of these things, I started making some commitments to myself. One of them was, I'm never going back to that dark place again. This world is a better place, right? God wanted me here. He'd have taken me already.
Yeah.
The other one is sorry, I just lost my train of thought, which is one of the issues I deal with all the time. I started making commitments to myself.
Yeah.
What was I talking about just
You're talking about we were talking about Sarah and when you left there and you
the
started to
commitment,
change. Yeah.
the first one started, and I had started some innovative healing methods in that way, but I made a commitment to myself when I recognized this thing called an ancestral burden that it was time to break it.
So I have a question. What was the healing practices that you were doing?
So we did some, are you familiar with EFT, emotional freedom technique? We started with that. There was, I don't remember the name of this.
For those that don't know, that's sort of where you're
tapping.
It's a tapping.
Yeah,
in
you're
places,
basically,
and you're saying confirmations of like you're safe,
yeah.
the trauma is no longer there.
Mhm.
It's rewiring the neural pathways.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
It just gets your body feeling it. It's processing emotion through your body that gets trapped. Is what
It's
I
actually
understand.
a really powerful practice. And just before I forget, I want to, and maybe we can put this in the show notes too, but there is an app called the Tapping Solution that I have that I think is great. And it's super easy. And
seems silly,
they're like
right?
2
Like-
minutes long or whatever, but it's like a little nice reset if you're just kind of feeling like over.
Yeah. So she introduced me to that. She had asked to get into my field, right? Like I'm gonna find some things that you don't know about. And it was like a pendulum thing, and she could be like, "Oh, well, Fred, like when you were 12, what happened?" What do you mean? Well, like shut your eyes for a minute. You're 12 years old. What's the first thing that pops into your head? And I like a moment, and you share the moment. She's like, "Yeah, that's what I needed to know."
Wow.
Fred, as she's doing Reiki, I'd never had Reiki done to me before. This is at the end. And then the stuff that she brought out of my subconscious was like, wow.
How did you
I
know
forgot,
that?
I forgot about that.
Yes, that's because it's in the subconscious, right?
She started doing Reiki on me. And she asked me to stand up and close my eyes. And I did. I didn't peek. All of a sudden, my hands got really warm. And my feet got so tight. I almost felt like a little geisha. You know, they fold up their feet. Like the arches of my feet were like almost like a Charlie horse. I was like, and she just goes, "Okay, I'm done. Open your eyes. What do you feel?" I'm like, first of all, I'm crying. Like, stop it. What did you? But my hands are hot, Sarah. What's that about? And she goes, "Well, that happens to a few people, but not a lot. Because that may be indicative of you having a level of medium." Okay, interesting. Never tapped into that one. But my feet, Sarah, like what is going on with my feet? She goes, "Fred, what's the first number that comes into your mind?" 5. Why do you ask? How strong are your suicidal ideations right now? Like I think I'm getting past it. I don't want to go now.
Yeah.
I'm still struggling. It hurts, but I don't want to go. Why? Like, what's the significance of the number? Fred, your feet are so tight because I had to re-anchor your spirit and your soul into your physical body. The 5% was what you've been holding on to.
Wow.
What? She goes, "You shouldn't feel like that as much moving forward." And all of a sudden,
You didn't. So she basically like regrounded you.
yeah, she's not gonna, I re-anchored your soul into your body, your physical body.
That's amazing.
For someone that never been through Reiki or any level of woo-woo stuff, like all at once,
That's
I was like,
big.
"Whoa, guys, this is weird. I can't go tell people about this."
Well, you tell your friends at
I'm
least.
trying to explain it to my wife. And she said, "What?" She's like, "Well, I don't know."
But such a strong physical manifestation.
Right? So, like, what a gift.
Yeah. What a gift.
How many sessions did you do with Sarah, do you think? I assume it was more than one.
Yeah. I started paying for my own, even though I had no money, right? But it was one of those things, like I had to invest into myself and my healing, or I wasn't going to make it.
And you were getting results, so.
Yeah. It wasn't like an immediate "you're healed," right? But just feeling any level of relief at that point in time was like, oh, it's like just.
It was hope, right?
It's like having that infection that like so much pain and pressure built up that you get that release.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that felt good. Yeah. So I think it gave me a finally a little bit of a window to breathe through in a way that I wasn't just pure suffering. I mean, at a point through the withdrawal process, like I mentioned a lot of the side effects and my nervous system and the brain, like it literally felt like someone at one point had shaved the skin off of my body and just left the nerves exposed.
Oh,
like bright light would physically hurt me.
that's amazing.
Like it was just, I was so physically sensitive to any and everything. Like
No wonder you didn't leave the house.
loud noises, super easily startled. Again, if and when I could find some sleep, my body couldn't regulate my temperature. I would wake up in like a wet outline. Like my wife literally started laying 3 and 4 beach towels down on our bed so I could sleep.
Wow.
Because I would just be absolutely soaked. And again, if I did found some time to sleep, I would have such crazy restless leg. I would kick the living crap out of her next to me in bed. She'd be swinging at me, waking, Fred, what do you, and I'm like, I don't know. Sorry, I didn't. But then there's like akathisia and like uncontrollable shaking that things cause that people like that. Ultimately, I've seen, unfortunately, people take their lives going because they can't stop physically. It's almost like an advanced Parkinson's where you can't operate.
What's akathisia? I've never heard of that.
It's an uncontrolled shaking
Wow.
caused by antidepressant withdrawal
Wow.
or benzo withdrawal or it's a nervous system damage issue. So I still do a little, but not uncontrollably.
Yeah.
A little
my body
shaking,
struggles.
not benzos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just, I think of the number of people. I mean, at one point, somebody tried to make me feel better and be like 1 in 4 people are on antidepressants, man. You're normal. It's fine. Like, do the math on that real quick with 300 and how many million people we have in America alone.
Right.
So how many people are on like that we got you on here, but you have no exit?
Or feeling the way that you felt when they
Burned
were on.
out.
Like it's.
I have no way out.
Yeah.
I have no one to support me through this. They're calling me crazy and I'm supposed to go back on my meds.
So when we spoke, I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, doing a pre-interview, and we were like, stop.
Don't say more.
Don't say more. We want to capture this in the podcast because
Sure.
it's such a inspiring story. You'd mentioned that you have told other people your story. Do you just, I mean, if there's 1 in 4 people taking antidepressants, does it kind of come up? Like what kind of interactions have you had with others when you tell your story?
Mixed reactions.
Okay.
The people that are on antidepressants don't want to hear your story.
Yeah.
I'm not a believer in one-size-fits-all healthcare anyway. So what I went through doesn't mean you're going to go through it.
Right.
My experience is one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
It might be very similar to some others, but it's not going to be like anybody else's. And I think we need to be very careful in thinking that way, right? But I'm trying to think on the best answer to that question. Ask me again.
Well, I'm just kind of curious what kind of reactions that you have gotten from people that are on antidepressants or in this way. I assumed when we did the pre-interview that when you were talking to people about it, it was people who were going through a similar story.
Sometimes.
But maybe I misunderstood.
I think some people are very inspired.
Yeah.
And some people are like, you're stupid. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd get the same reaction depending on what doctor office I would walk into and talk about what I just went or am continually going through. That being said, I think where I take aim and when I share my story, it's my intent's always authenticity. Right? I think that's the number one thing I've learned through this whole thing is, man, enough with the ego. Bye-bye. Right? Like I've connected with my human and beyond human soul, right? Like there's some deep stuff in there that drives who I am. And I think when I share my story, it's meant to inspire people that might be struggling in any area of their life.
Right.
Not just with this. I'll give you a quick story, and I don't want to go on a crazy tangent, but when I was in San Diego, I'm in this new job in 2020, right? When COVID hit. I started in September of 2019. March hit, especially in Southern California. Nobody left the house. I'm very still involved with the nonprofit community in San Diego. I've always loved to give and help. And I was talking to a couple of nonprofit leaders in San Diego at the height of COVID, call it, June, July. And I kept hearing the same thing. Fred, we're serving more people than ever, but we have no volunteers showing up. Like nobody's leaving the house. They're afraid to get sick. Mm-hmm. So like the food bank went from serving 300-some thousand to 600,000 in a month. But all their volunteers are staying home. So I kind of saw that. And I thought, this is my opportunity to say thank you, to pay forward the help that I got, because I still got more time than money at this point, right? And my desire to give back is always been kind of, what can I put my hands on? So I created this little group in the middle of COVID, and I called it Blessed at the time. And it was BLSSD. It was the fad to take vowels out of stuff back then. It's still cool. But it just stood for Business Leaders Serving San Diego. And I made it my mission at that point in time to bridge the volunteer gap. And that was my opportunity to pay forward the help that I got. So I just started doing another bad old reference that it hit me the other day. I did a Jerry Maguire reference. You've seen the movie Jerry Maguire, right? Where he's got the goldfish in the bag and he's running out. He's like, who's coming with me? Like, that was kind of my moment. At the same time, I shared this story with like a 23-year-old the other day. And he's like, what the hell's a Jerry Maguire?
Oh, gosh.
I'm like, oh, you're right. The kid in Jerry Maguire is probably older than you. So
yeah, right.
Never mind.
Kids, you need to do your
The human head weighs 10 pounds.
Right?
That's
right.
That's how I know that.
You need to do your homework and watch Jerry Maguire, kids.
So, long story short, that was kind of my call to action was, hey, community, like I want to fill a gap. These nonprofit organizations need our help. Does anybody want to throw caution to the wind? And again, like God would have taken me out when I was begging for it. He's not going to kill me with this flu thing that's happening. Like
right.
Again, I'm not afraid anymore.
Yeah. So
all of a sudden, somebody raises a hand. Fred, I'll volunteer with you. Well, I guess we should find somewhere that'll let us. So I started making some phone calls and I found a place. And I'm not going to advertise who and what and whatever, but there was a nonprofit homeless shelter downtown on 16th Street, which has really become like Skid Row, right? And they served meals to the homeless, and they allowed us 2 groups of 2. And we literally had to like hazmat suit up, and we're pushing plates of food through like the plexiglass mail slot. They can't even eat there. They got to take it and go. But the first person I served that day, I'll never forget her. She was a single mother of 4, and she had a baby on either hip, like trying to hold the babies and grab the food. She's got the stroller she's pushing with her thighs, right? She's got the kid holding onto the flannel shirt tail. She didn't know where she was going to sleep that night. But damn it if she wasn't more grateful for the like food that we pushed through the mail slot than I've probably ever been for anything in my entire life. And even in, again, not a year from my lowest, I had a moment where that changed my perspective on life, right? I still get goosebumps. But my problem's like, man, as much as I was struggling to pay the mortgage, I still got the house. I still got a warm bed to sleep in. For some reason, my wife's enduring this with me, and she's still next to me in that warm bed.
Yeah.
I got a lot to be grateful for. I got to stop coming from this place of lack and all this shit that happened to me. Because I'm now on a path. Now, a few years later, it's taken me to realize that this has happened for me.
Yeah.
Right? And it becomes the moment where the comeback overtakes the setback. Right? And that's where the glory lies. And I'm starting to experience that. Right? When we moved here, I finally had a moment. I can't tell you how long it had been, but I was driving down Palisades, right? Down the hill.
Yep. This is in Fountain Hills,
you see
Arizona.
Fountain Hills opens up, right? 4 Peaks. It's like majestic. Like
yeah.
I had gotten into a habit of coming home from work that way and putting my crap into 4 Peaks Mountain on the way home, right? Like physically, I'm not taking this home. Like I'm angry. We had a tough day, whatever it is. You go into Mother 4 Peaks. You got to take this. I'm not taking it to my house. So I'm driving down 4 Peaks, and for the first time, and I can't tell you how long, I had a moment. And I think I walked into the house and cried, but I looked at Amber and I was like, for the first time in my memorable history, It literally feels good to be alive today.
Wow.
Like that moment.
Yeah.
That was a day.
How did she react to that?
No, I mean, that's just, right? Like
That
Fred's
just
coming
made
back.
her-
Yeah.
You know, she's always worried that she couldn't endure and that somebody else was going to get my best, right? Like that's not okay.
But she's getting your best now.
So I'm getting there. I'm a lot better. I don't know what best looks like yet. I hope I never get there, honestly, because if I hit best, then I stop
Exactly.
growing, right?
We all keep becoming better versions of ourselves. That's the goal, right?
So better is, I think, better's good. But we're happier. You've met her.
She's an amazing human.
Yeah, we have our moments. It's any married couple,
Of
right?
course.
I love you, but maybe I don't like you so much today, right?
Yeah.
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 But generally,
Hey, don't look at me.
No,
Oh,
don't
sorry.
do-
No, never
sorry.
mind.
Did I
Never
say that
mind.
out loud? No, but I mean, for Amber and I, and the way that I look at our relationship, we have ground through some tough stuff, and we've only been married, it'll be 9 years in September.
Yeah.
We've seen, we started our marriage with this.
Right.
December will be 7 years of going through just this.
I mean, if you can make it through all that, you guys are
And
going to be just fine.
That's what I said, man. We are battle tested, right?
Yeah.
Man, if you wanted, you should have gone by now.
You
if
jumped in the
would've
deep end. Yeah, exactly. If she didn't leave before.
Yeah, but no, I mean, my goal is just to give her that. What she deserves is my best, or as good, as close to that as I can get. So that's part of this comeback trail is how do I become the better husband? How do I become someone that's easy to live around,
Yeah.
who's not so triggered, who maybe has a wider spectrum of emotion outside of anger, right? Like she deserves to feel love. And damn it, if I don't deserve to feel some happiness and joy too, right?
Yes.
Amen.
And I think a lot of it, and I have just started to recognize the amount in which I hold myself back. And again, being so close to stuff, sometimes you just don't recognize.
Yeah.
So it's giving yourself permission, I think. And it's like, when am I allowed to be happy? When have I done enough to feel joy? You already have.
You're worthy already.
And that's, I think a lot of people lose that, or they never get that growing up, or some level of trauma distracts them and breaks that inside them, right? All of a sudden you don't feel worthy because you're damaged. So it's how do we get through all that?
We like to ask our guests on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst and 10 being the best, how did you feel at your rock bottom moment?
Negative.
Zero.
That's the answer some people give.
I mean, have you ever, I don't ever want you to feel like this, but can you mentally imagine and emotionally imagine honestly believing this world a better place without your presence? Like that feeling, like that desperation of which people go through before they take their lives. I feel like I walked up to the line. Nobody should feel that, right? That's how bad it feels.
Yeah.
And most days now, how do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10?
This is a rigged answer. I didn't get this question beforehand, but
Correct.
I had a realization this year in January. I went through we've had a lot, we've had some things going on.
Yeah.
But one of the guys, I was at our national sales convention. We do it every year. It's 1,000 people in Houston getting together. One of our top performers sat on the stage and was on a panel, and somebody was asking him, how do you handle the emotional swings of what we do? Sales is tough, man. Right? Yeah. And he's like, guys, I got to tell you something. He goes, when I started here, when I'd lose, I was at a 1. And when I win, I was at a 10. That's too wide of a spectrum.
Yeah.
He goes, I had to shorten the wavelength. So I really aim to be between a 4 and a 7 at all times. So like 7 is my goal.
Yeah. That's fair.
As weird as that is.
No, that's fair.
But for me, I think anything over a 5 on a daily basis is a huge, huge thing.
Yeah.
And if I can get to a 7, and maybe I can feel what it's like to reach towards a 10.
Yeah.
But I'm just not there yet.
Yeah.
And I think December is going to be 7 years since I took an aspirin for a headache, for that matter. Right? I've been off of everything for that long. And I credit my old chiropractor in San Diego for this, and I don't know if I'm going to be disappointed or excited here soon, but He used to tell me all the time that the human cellular structure turns over completely every 7 years, right? Like your cells regenerate, everything. So every 7 years, you're basically in a new skin suit, right? You got a new body. So December is going to be my 7 years. It's hard to believe I've been healing for 6.5. Wow. And how long it takes for people to get through this stuff, right? If they do it all. But I've been given quite the gift and an opportunity to share some of this so that people can take the scars from my back and not have to wear the pain, right? They get the experience without having to go through the tough stuff. So
that's why we're doing this podcast in the first place, right? It's a way
sorry,
for
you got me
humans.
a little choked up today.
Oh, it's okay.
Thank you for being vulnerable and being open with us. I think that this is a very wonderful gift that you're giving to yourself, but also to the audience and for people that are going through what you have gone through. I think the inspiration for the Rock Bottom podcast is the story of the 4-minute mile, where previous to there being
Couldn't be done.
it couldn't be done until one person did it, and it inspired so many others to believe it could happen.
Exactly.
And it's not medical advice. That's not what this show is. No. It's inspiration to realize that inside of all of us, every single one of us humans, is unlimited potential for healing, for growth, for betterment. We're big fans of Dr. Joe Dispenza and his whole
It's interesting you mentioned
scientific.
him.
Oh, really? Why?
I had coffee 2 days ago with
him?
someone. No.
Darn, I was going to be impressed.
Good friend of mine. She just went to Cancun for a week-long meditation transformation, and she is a new human being. She feels like literally walked in the door going, "Fred, I feel divine."
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I am now tied into the universal consciousness.
Yes. Yeah.
We went in February.
I have fixed my back pain, like in my own visions, and I have not hurt in 2 weeks.
It's amazing.
Like she's
beautiful.
So understanding that.
Big fans of Dr. Joe Dispenza. Yeah.
I was just somebody told me he's got a book that I haven't read on that.
Yes. He has a few books. His Becoming Supernatural is the most recent one, I believe.
think that's the one that she just mentioned. So.
Speaking of books, another question we like to ask our guests is, if you and your story could be a book, what would you title that book?
Wow. Goggins already took Unbreakable, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
I don't know.
I mean, you could take it also.
Probably something like Keep Going, or I don't know. Like One
Keep
More
going.
Step.
Ooh, One More Step. I like that.
Right? Like One More Breath, something to that effect. Like just one more. Just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I got here. If I decided that one day I wasn't going to take the step, right? Like, I think you guys probably get it. Showing up every day is not your battery at 100%, right? Like some days we show up and I'm empty.
Yeah.
All right? We don't win every day. But I think I attribute the level of success to the progress, not perfection mindset, right? You're going to be perfect. You end up sitting around waiting for perfect time instead of making little effort every day. And when you start to stack that consistently is when big things happen in your life.
One of my favorite sayings is, it's about direction, not perfection.
100%, right?
And before I forget, I really loved what you were talking about in terms of when you kind of got back to the soul of who you are. Basically, you connected with your soul. I've been learning a lot more about that, and actually read a book recently that I could not recommend anymore. It's called Meet Your Soul by Elisa Romero. Have you heard of it?
I have not.
All right, you should check it out.
I should.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend that. We can put it in the show notes.
And her technique of soul journaling to essentially have a conversation with the other person that's inside of your head, but to do it on paper. Ashley's done a lot more than I have. I did it one time. I was like, okay, yeah, that seemed pretty real. Well, like it seems kind of ridiculous. Well, and then you go through the process and you kind of just strip away your bias and like, well, I don't know if this is real. And you just start writing and then you get to the end of it and you're like, That's really good advice I just gave myself.
Well,
Right?
if you think about
should
it,
listen to myself
I
more
should
often.
listen to myself more often.
But not the voice in the head, the authentic
Yes.
soul voice.
right.
You
Well,
got to
and
separate the ego part of it, which is
Exactly.
so hard to do.
it is. And this is a practice that like helps you exercise that muscle and get through the things that are in your head stuck in the ego
Yeah.
mind where you're like, oh, I'm so annoyed with this one situation, but it's like, just write it out. I mean, what I kind of boil it down to is like, it's not so weird when you consider that we all know we have the, you know, impatient, angry, like child inside that wants my way. I want it now on my timing, blah, blah, blah. And then we also know that we all have a voice of reason, and the voice of reason is your soul. So if we can connect more with that, life goes smoother. You know, you navigate things better because you're running things from a different place. You're not letting the angry teenager inside of you run things, the ego, whatever you want to call it. You're more operating from that soul level.
Well, and that takes a high level of EQ, right? You have to hijack thoughts that aren't your real thoughts before they become them.
Mm-hmm.
They will spin up very quickly, right? What is it? With the lack of information, the brain automatically creates the worst possible scenarios.
That sounds about right.
And overthinkers do it in a way that will spin you very quickly if you're not careful.
Way out of control. Let's God bless you. Let's close with, what is your kind of typical routine now for staying and keeping healthy?
My days start pretty early. The guy that used to stay up till 2 and 3 in the morning is now getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I love getting up at sunrise and walking the dog. That is how I start my day. That's how I get present. That's where I find my gratitude. I look at the beauty in Fountain Hills, right? I thank God every day for pulling me out. And that levels me. And I don't win every day, right? I mean, it's still, I wish I could be meditatively present every one of those walks, right? But it's like, oh my God, what's my calendar look like too? But
Yeah.
it's being more present. It's being very aware of where I sit. How does my nervous system feel, right? Like I have to give myself permission to pull back sometimes when I struggle to do that, right? I put very high expectations on myself. I'm a top producer at a very big company, all right? I have a personal brand. It means a lot to me. I'm in very good company, and I've earned that right in a way that imposter syndrome ruled my life for a long time. Was I ever good at anything, right? I'm so broken now, I don't think I can do anything. So I think just being mentally aware of those types of things, staying present in my emotions. When I start to get rough around the edges, it's all right, maybe it's time to do some sanding and polishing, meaning let's go back to some of the fundamental work. That's helped me. I love breath work. I don't do it enough, but I got really into doing Wim Hof. Talk about a way to take control of your mind and some anxiety and
Get
call
out
it
of
the
your
reptilian brain. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that was also super helpful in my healing, was starting, man, have you ever read The Miracle Morning?
I haven't, but it's on my list.
So morning routine, I went through iterations of that. Now I realized maybe that structure wasn't mine, but I've adapted my own, right? I think it's eating healthy, right? We've spurned a bakery out of this.
Yeah, you have.
An incredible bakery.
An
Right?
awesome
just
organic
based
bakery,
on we want to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think just a little bit of progress every day, giving yourself a little bit of credit. Where were your small wins, right? I'm super critical of myself too. So I also find that the reason I'm sharing some of the service story is that when I serve others in a nonprofit capacity, right? When I'm serving those in need, I'm sharing my story, I'm handing out food, I'm doing whatever for someone less fortunate. All of a sudden I treat myself way better.
Yeah.
I'm softer. I'm more self-compassionate, right? Like you find that love for your own, man, God, thank you. You've given me so much. I'm even able to help. You've given me so much. I'm blessing others with my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff is where I try to stay centered. I mean, it's easy to get pulled out, right? Especially when I still go through moments where my nervous system gets flared up and I'm right back to where I started, right? With those pure anxiety days where you're stuck in fight or flight, maybe multiple days or weeks. So it's just, I try to stay ahead of feeling like that. And when I do, it's like, oh my gosh, I hope this isn't going to be weeks.
But how amazing is it that you have that toolbox
Yeah.
to go to and say, all right, here are the things that I know I can do to get me back. I mean,
100%.
it's going to take a little bit of work, but at least you have that.
Well, knowing that I don't think until I decided to choose the side of this happened for me, not to me, that I was able to ever really pull from this the strength, right? Until you look at it different, it can't serve you if it's holding you back.
Yeah.
And we're so much stronger than I think we give ourselves credit for, right? Like we have a choice. We have to be really intentional about those choices. And it's when you notice things aren't as good, it's time to make different choices. Otherwise, of course, you're going to spiral and go back to where you started.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of all of that.
Well, this has been an incredible story, Fred. Thank you so much. I hope that the people listening have
Thank you.
gotten as much out of it as I have. Really appreciate you, and this has been a pleasure.
Likewise, thank you for allowing me to share. I haven't done this before.
Well, you're a natural, my friend.
Well, now that you've recorded it, you don't have to do it again.
Right? All right, when's the book deal?
All right. Right after the title. Thank you so much.
No, thanks, guys. This is great.